Regardless of if you are striving after business success or financial independence, people's success is heavily influenced by habits. But do you know what are those right habits that can influence success in every aspect of your life? Today, we will be doing a deep dive into habits and success strategies, and you may be lucky to take away a number of nuggets that can literally transform the way you view success and the way you organize your thoughts and your processes to attract success in your life. Today, with me in studio, I have a team of dynamic personalities to join me in this conversation. First, I want to introduce Shavani Sinarang, and she is a project management practitioner. Beyond being a project management practitioner, she's a lecturer, she's a serial entrepreneur, and she is a humanitarian. Second, I want to introduce my colleague, which is Clement Frank. And Clement Frank, he's an economist by profession, he's a leader, and he has a new book that is going to be launched in the near future. Now, with that, I want to welcome each and every one of you to today's program. And today we're going to be talking about habits associated with success. And what I want to do, I just want to lay the groundwork as we do that deep dive into this topic. What I have seen, the ultimate play on success has a lot to do with the science of success. But what exactly is the science of success? This is something that most people do not know. What we have done, we have developed that ultimate play that looks at success from four different standpoints. One, we ask what is the art and science of success. Two, we ask where is the evidence to support success. Three, we ask what is leadership to influence success. And four, we look at management processes that can complement success. What I will do, I just want to spend a little bit looking at success. Now, as you position yourself to attract success, what I have found that it's necessary to ask yourself or define what is success. Many persons if struggle with this. And if you're struggling to define success, there lies a challenge. Second, once you get past this first phase of defining what is success, it is necessary to put yourself in that position of strength to view success through the context of art. And third is to view success in the context of science. Let me begin to just break this down a little bit. Now, what in your definition is success? Now, success in our context exists on three different levels. Level one is what we call small and average success. An example of this might be that you set a goal of earning $5 million dollars in annual revenue. So you set the goal and you go after it and you achieve it. That in of itself is success, but it's what we call small and average success. There's a second level to success, which we call medium or mid level accomplishment. In this context, you may be setting a goal of attaining $50 million dollars in annual revenue. So you set that goal and you go after it and you achieve it. That in of itself is what we call the mid level success. Just for an example, and there's what we call the third level success. In this context, we view success in this case as being large and major accomplishment. For example, you set a goal of attracting a $500 million, $500 million in annual revenue, and you go and you achieve it. So we do this largely based on the fact that very often when people say, I want to be successful, is saying successful enough. And in most cases, is not enough. All right, you need to define what is success, because what follows next is what's going to aid your efforts to attract success. So, what follows next is you asking yourself, now that you have defined success, are you trained to see success in the context of art? Now, what is art? Art in this context, as we look at the science of art, represents four important concepts. For example, it represents the strategies that you can use to accomplish success. But very often, when you're using strategies, you're not certain if you are deploying the right strategies to aid you in the success that you're going after. Second is to understand the right tools to deploy to influence your success story. Three is to understand what are the processes to deploy to influence your success story. And last is to understand the systems, how to systemize the entire process. Now, the possibility exists that if you are attempting to attract success and you're not trained to see success in the context and how I've just explained it, you may be struggling to attain success. And let me explain what. I explained three levels of success, but the explanation of these levels of success doesn't help you to understand the strategies that you should be using to attract success. And some of the strategies, as you look at the art, it could be that you develop a program that we call the SCP. And SCP means you develop a sales communication program. And in order to attract, let us say, the first target, small and average accomplishment, which is $5 million, you clearly develop a strategy to attain this. And the strategy is you're going to roll out a training program. You're targeting 1,000 persons and you're charging $5,000 per person for the program. When you calculate 1,000 persons by the cost of $5,000, you get your target, which is $5 million in annual revenue. So that is a strategy. But understanding the strategy, understanding the success that you want, the strategy to deploy it, do you understand the tool? I will not go into all of that today, but the tool is, for example, to generate $5 million by the rollout of your training program, you may have to use a number of different tools to achieve this. You might need access to capital to help in the process. So capital becomes a tool. You might be fortunate enough to be the leader of the Global Business and Financial Association, so you have access to people. And because you are leveraging this association, that gives you access to people, the association now becomes your tool that you're using to achieve the objective. So what we are doing here, we are developing a systematic approach to really help you to see success and understand the methodologies that can best help you to attain success. And this is applicable to business, is applicable to whether you're the individual that wants to attain financial independence. It begins with you understanding how to define success. It begins with you understanding how to see success in the context of art, which are strategies, tools, processes, and systems. And it also begins with you seeing success in the context of science. I haven't gone deep into the tools and the science, but if time permits, I will go deeper into those concepts to help the listening audience get a better understanding as to how you prepare yourself for success and what are some of the strategies that you can use. I now want to turn to Frank and then I will come to Shivani. And I would love for Frank to perhaps introduce the leadership habits that may complement your effort to attain success. And again, I want to emphasize the reason we are doing this is because we are seeing so many millions of people across the world who wants to be successful. You're chasing after success, you're not attaining it. We have studied this in terms of art and science, and we are now presenting some of this information to you that can help you make better business and life decisions. Frank, all to you.
Mhm. Thank you, Gary. Hi, Shivani, listeners. So we are looking at habits that makes a successful leader and strategies that they can implement. One of the things that we can all agree to is that no two leaders are exactly alike, but the most successful leaders often have plenty in common: personal preferences, opinions, life experience aside. Certain leadership qualities ring true across the board. So, characteristics like honesty, responsiveness, passion, integrity, they're almost universally valued in successful and growing companies. Now, while these traits might be somewhat inherent in certain leaders, the best leaders become successful by honing specific skills, and they do that through hard work and habit formation. So, what exactly are the habits of some of the world's most effective leaders? I want to outline the habits of a successful leader that most reliably allow people to acquire and maintain leadership success in their life and in the workplace. And the first one I'm always thinking about is to cultivate a thirst for knowledge. So, one of the most important qualities of any effective leader is the willingness and ability to continuously learning. Curiosity counts because it keeps people reaching out to educate themselves about new topics and innovative ideas arising in the world. A successful leader gathers knowledge from a wide variety of sources. They read books across genres and fields of expertise. They listen to people with diverse backgrounds and experiences. And they ask questions of their peers, their employees, their friends, and even strangers. Now, all of these activities allow leaders to expand their horizons. Even if a piece of information that may not seem immediately relevant to a leader's life or career, it could be immensely helpful later. And that's why a successful leader often has an unexpected type of hobby or interest. And the diversity of the learning leads to a diversity of hobbies and habits. The combination of these various bits of knowledge can be synthesized over time in a new and unique in new and unique ways. Creativity abounds when your brain is constantly in a state of stimulation. There is no downside, only upside to receive an ongoing education. Successful leaders know there's always more to discover. You need to maintain a balance of confidence and humility, something lacking a lot in leadership today. There are always areas of growth for leaders. And the only way to identify and improve those areas is to put your ego aside. Then pick it up when you have to act on those necessary changes. Leadership success comes with power and privileges. And this prestige can cloud the mind of individuals who lack humility. Conversely, leaders who lack confidence can struggle to get things done. They can struggle to create buy in, maintain positive forward momentum, and the void in their interpersonal skill causes people to keep them at a distance, which makes team building a struggle. As such, The most successful leaders strike a careful balance between confidence and humility. They've developed a skill of listening closely to their peers and team members while not backing down from both ideas. They also focus on physical, mental, and social health. Mental, physical, and social health are a ray of power and privilege inherent in leadership and brings its fair share of stress, which manifests both in the mind and body. And leaders who fail to take care of their mental and physical health can burn out, lash out, and or simply become less effective overall. So social health is important because it keeps people connected to their colleagues, to their friends, family members, and society at large. Ample research has shown that when someone's overly isolated, their socio-emotional health suffers and they're at higher risk for conditions like diabetes and heart disease. Overall leadership success largely depends on maintaining a healthy lifestyle both in and out of work. And the best leaders focus on managing leadership stress by exercising regularly, getting enough sleep, eating healthfully, taking breaks, practicing mindfulness, and more. And they may engage in relaxation techniques like meditation, for some yoga, which have positive effects on the heart, mind, and body. Taking the time for self care allows leaders to operate with a clear mind and high functioning body. This is crucial for maintaining a success chain of positive habits, like getting things done quickly and getting them done right. I'll stop here for now and hand you back to Gary. There's more to be offered when I'm back again.
Yeah, I really love that you zero in on self-care, and you view self-care in a context as a strategy for success, because I believe it is. I think as leaders, very often, as you maneuver, you take action or inform action to achieve a desired end result. And sometimes what is most sacrificed is your health, and health is wealth. Health is wealth. So I
Yes.
trust that our listening audience is really taking notes on the importance of pausing and honoring yourself, and give yourself self-love, self-care. I do believe it's an essential strategy as you position yourself to not only attain success, but to maintain it and enjoy it. In conclusion, I want to say no one wants to be like Steve Jobs, one of the greatest innovators the world has ever known.
Mhm.
But guess what? He wasn't able to enjoy his success story. He went too soon. So that part of it where health wasn't taken care of, you don't want that. Perhaps everything else is what you want, but not that part where you're not looking at your health. I want to now turn to Shivani. Shivani, I know you are a expert in project management. You may want to bring your project management flavor to the discussion. But I want to open up the floor to just hear from you in terms of habits, and what success strategies and tools can be used to really enable persons to be more successful.
Thanks, Gary. So
Okay.
I didn't even um, think that we were going to talk about this today, right? But you say the power of the mind, how connected you and I and Frank are.
Yeah.
Because when you started to speak, I started to think about something that I have been doing, right? And to know how successful it's going to be. So I want to determine if it's going to be a habit for me. So it's meshing in what I want to bring to the forward to the conversation. Now, I'm sure you and Frank and many persons would have heard about the power of three.
Hmm.
So the power of three. That you have, to focus. When you want to focus and you want to do, as we say, deep work, if you have many persons saying that you need to do one thing at a time, and finish that and then move on to another thing. But in my analysis, many people who have been doing that, they take forever, and by the time they finish one thing, it's obsolete. You got no value for it. So I always said that I don't really, that is not my cup of coffee, right, so to speak. I always wanted to try something differently. And I realized I was doing it, right? But I didn't realize I was doing it. So the power of three is where I came about with three things that I wanted to do. And I have always been like that. Three new things. It's new things, right? It can't be the same way, the same things that you're doing over and over, because it will not give you new ideas, as we say. So it got to be new things, whatever it is. So for me, I'm focusing on three things right now. One is writing my book. It's not a project management book, but it's really lessons that you can take in leadership and everything like that. Two, my self-paced learning platform. I'm concentrating on developing course creation. So it's about 5 or 6 different courses that I want to put on it very, very shortly. New ideas keep flowing all the time for myself. And thirdly, would be I'm starting up a bistro, right? Coffee and bistro, please. So these are three things that I'm focusing on, and I'm deeply focusing on it. Now, when so somebody might say, well, that's too much to be doing at the same time. But I'm not doing everything and finishing it all out. It's more like an agile way that I've formed. So I'm going to take certain things from each one and implement it. So you'll still see me doing planning a course development one, but at the same time, barista. I'm interviewing for a barista. Then at the same time, or at this, well, not literally at the same time, but you are also writing a chapter in the book that Frank will understand how we do this kind of thing. So it's the power of three. And it helps me to focus more, because if you think about your mind, right, sometimes you get fed up of doing one thing. So you say, I want to write a book, and that's the only thing you do it. Obviously, you get fed up and you go on to something else without even knowing it. That's what we've been doing our whole life. But, you know, previous generations would have taught us that you finish whatever you start first and then move on to something else. That has never been my strategy. And I think as I'm moving up in years, in numbers, it's not going to be my strategy. It's not my strategy at all. I like to do multiple things, and I am seeing the value of that. So that's one of my strategies, really, the power of three. And three new things. So you must be new things, right? It must be new things for me. That's just my way of a success. It can't be the same thing over and over. I will see value in it. And to be honest, there may be times you choose three things, Frank, and you can't really now, it's making sense. No problem. Be big enough to know, throw it out and come with something else. It can't be what? Pumping in the same resources in the same thing and you're not seeing value, right? You have to know. So this is one of my techniques, the power of three. And I'm really impressed with it, that it makes me think in a certain way. So you'll tell me how successful it is, Frank, with the book and stuff, yeah? The power of three. It helps me to focus. That's what I want to talk about, is focus.
Yeah. Uh, what I want to say is that I think that you, as a project manager, you have a strategic advantage in deploying ideas around the power of three. And I'm going to say this because of the factor that as a project manager, you are clearly aware that you don't have to be the implementer of all three concepts, because you understand how to develop the project, you understand how to delegate, and perhaps you can be just a project manager. So you know how to apply what I would call the 2080 rule, where you just develop the concepts and you delegate the strategic and tactical role, or the tactical and operational responsibility, to the team. So I see no harm in how you're thinking. is just the implementation process of it. And I know that you have the skill set to do that. And what I also love with what you said, sometimes you come up with idea, but when you recognize that they are not workable, because sometimes as you come up with ideas, you have to do that stress test. You have to stress test the concepts. And it is only when you stress test the concepts, you can then recognize whether it makes sense or not. The stress test is part of the research. You don't have the intelligence because you might be using historical data that is outdated. So you now have to collect new data and then allow that new data to inform your decision making process. And again, this is one of the reasons why we have introduced a concept that we call the science of success. Because what the science of success does, it stands basically on four pillars. What I've just discussed is only elements of the first pillar. And the first pillar of the science of success really helps you to understand what is the art and the science of success. And secondly, it helps you to understand what is evidence-based uh, marketing. And here is where you collect the information. And it's by collecting the information, you are using that information to develop your artistic approach, which is the tools, processes, and systems, and which will ultimately give you the scientific outcome, which is the high reward, measurable results, predictable outcome with the highest degree of accuracy. And so we have built out this ecosystem to really support persons as they position themselves to execute, to implement their success game plan. Now, the third element of this platform, the science of success, really helps you to understand evidence based leadership. Why is this important? Some people believe that success is wishful thinking. Does it require leadership to attain success? I looked at success in three different levels. To attract, let us say, $5 million, and might be easy. But now to attract $50 million or $500 million in annual revenue, it becomes a little tougher. So it requires leadership to attain this. But as you adopt leadership style, has that leadership style been tested? Do you have any historical data that if you apply yourself in this particular way, these are the predictable outcome that you're going to get? What the science of success does, it gets you to go into that frame of mind where you start to question everything and you start to look for data and evidence before you actually execute on the project. This in itself is what helps you to make better business and life decisions, because now you're focusing on collecting data, you're focusing on analyzing data, you're focusing now on leveraging data in a market sensitive manner, and you understand that this effort is not, it's a long life cycle, because you have to mitigate changes that is taking place in the program. You have to mitigate changes that may be necessary based on market realities. So the science of success really helps you, the individual, to start thinking like a scientist as it relates to the success that you want to accomplish. How a scientist works, they implement a test, they document that data, they see the results, they discard what needs to be discarded of, and they use what needs to be used, they optimize on what needs to be optimized. So the next time they go at it, they are better able to achieve, they are coming closer and closer and closer to the desired end results. As you start to think about success, you just don't think about success in a vacuum. And I'm saying this because we're seeing millions of people across the world. You set your New Year resolution, you set your goal, you start and scale, you want to scale a business. But what happens after a period of time? The business collapses because you just know that you want to be successful, but you have not been trained to see success. in the context of art, and in the context of science. Now, let me go a little deeper into this for the benefit of the viewers and listeners. In starting this presentation, I say that when you want to be successful, it's important for you to ask yourself three questions. What is success? Well, I already explained that to you, so you need to look back at the program. So now that you define what success really is, you're now asking yourself, what are the art to attain success? So you're now training the mind to view success in the context of art. Now that you start to view success in the context of art, you need to understand what tools you're going to be using. So when we talk of art that is going to aid you to achieve success, the first art that you're looking at is your strategies. What are the strategies that you're using? Now, in the example that I gave early on, the question is asked, you want to attain $5 million in annual revenue, or it may be the mid-level success, you want to attain $50 million in annual revenue, or it may be the third level success, you want to attract $500 million in annual revenue. So this is what you want to accomplish. Now you have to ask yourself, what strategies can I deploy to achieve this? And you have to be able to think tank the strategy. The strategy must make sense. All right. So this, as you started thinking art, the art is helping you now to understand the best strategy to deploy to achieve your targeted performance outcome. And there are a number of strategies that you can use. The example that I gave early on, perhaps you can develop a training program. So you're an expert in your field and you decide now to roll out a program in sales communication. Another strategy can be that you decide to roll out a training program in debt mitigation. Now, there are millions of people in the United States of America that buy debt and don't understand how debt instrument works. And you have over 90 million persons who are in either mortgage debt, car debt, credit card debt, and they are struggling with this entire process. So you know from the get-go that you have over 90 million persons that need support with this. So you decide now to design a program, which is part of your strategy to achieve the financial objective and to help people to mitigate debt. There are many persons that are buying their home, but guess what? They have never heard about the amortization schedule. And when you understand the amortization schedule, you understand that you have tremendous abilities to influence the cost that you're paying for the principal balance. And you perhaps now see that there's a big market here to, so when you roll out your training program, you have perhaps a number of thousands, a number of hundreds of thousands, or millions of persons that may buy into your program. So in this particular case, you decide, hey, you want to target 10,000 persons. So if you target 10,000 persons and you're charging $5,000 per person, guess what? You reach your annual target. Perhaps you might target you, if you know exactly how to organize this, you may be able to target this at one time. We have seen persons fill out stadiums with their training program. Perhaps you might be the well-connected persons that can do that. But remember, this is an annual target. So over the year, you still have 1 year to generate $50 million. So these are the strategies that you're using. But as you become clear about the strategy, you recognize that, hey, you have a strategy, but is it enough? Is it enough? You may have to now start thinking about the tools. So when we talk about the art of success, the art of success takes into consideration four important concepts: the strategies, the tools. What is tools? And my son would normally say, as he conduct lectures. He said, you can extract a concrete nail from the wall with a screwdriver. You're deploying the wrong tool to achieve that, you know. And so as you position yourself to attract success, it's important for you to associate the right tools with that success that you want to accomplish. Now, the tool change. Even as you go into the science of success, depending on the type of success that you want, you must know the appropriate tools that you need to deploy. Now, these programs we're given a high level overview. I'm not going to go deeper into it because it takes some time to go into it. So as you understand the right tools, the next step that we talk about is the right processes. Because let's take, for example, let us suppose that you want to acquire a multifamily unit. So that's the goal that you want to accomplish. All right, that's clearly defined. Now, you ask yourself, what strategies can you use to accomplish this? The strategy is you're going to need capital. But which capital is best for you? Is it debt, equity, credit, creative financing, or hard money lending? That's going to represent your strategies. But now that you know this, you may make a decision that I want to access capital using debt instruments. What is the process? What is the process now to access debt instrument? And if you're not thinking through this entire process, you're likely to get stuck somewhere. And this is what happened to most people. You know what you want to accomplish, but you're not trained to think through the entire process and see it as art. That's going to help you to have that clear mental picture in terms of how to attain success. So the process to attain debt instrument is different from the process to attain credit financing. For example, as you think about the tool, debt instrument, what is the process now to access debt instruments to invest in the multifamily unit? You may have, some people may ask for historical data. Some investors may want to know that you have history in investing in multifamily unit. Are you reaching that pre-qualification as part of your process? Some investors may know that you want to know that you have equity or you have collateral. Yes, the asset in itself, because it's a multifamily unit, can be leveraged as collateral. But are you seeing all of this as you look at your processes to achieve the target results? So I'm going to pause here for now because just to give you some high level overview of how you need to look at success when you want to position yourself for success. And if you're not doing this, whether in business or whether you want to position yourself to build wealth, if you're not doing this, the possibility exists as one of the reasons why you're going to struggle to attract success. Our role is to provide you with a blueprint and as much information as possible to help you to make smarter business and smarter lives decision. I will now pass control over to my colleague Frank. All to you. I see Shabani has she came off. I think some technical difficulties, but all to you, my friend. Frank, are you hearing me?
You hear me now?
I'm hearing you now. All to you.
I had a little thing. So when we talk about success strategies for success as a leader, another thing that can bring you success, another strategy to use, is stay organized personally and professionally. Because effective leaders are also well organized where it counts. A messy desk might not be a proverbial sign of genius. It's not exactly ideal for strategic planning, scheduling, goal tracking, and so on. Organization helps everything stay on track, especially when someone is in charge of managing people and teams. So, keeping your documents and items in their proper places, taking regular notes, journaling, maintaining a detailed calendar helps keep things straight. So, leaders can spend less time and energy shuffling papers around and more on other matters. When a leader has good organizational skills, this sets the stage for other high level leadership tasks like team based brainstorming, innovative idea generation, performance management, employee check ins, executive meetings, and much more. Apart from that, you should positively push yourselves and others. Organizations can only grow if leaders and their teams are constantly coming up with new ideas and taking calculated risks. Indeed, this willingness to push the envelope is one of the key qualities of a good leader. And honing it depends on leaders pushing themselves out of their comfort zones in every area of their lives, including at work. And when we refer to pushing themselves and others, in this context, what we mean is positive pushing. Good leaders aren't pushy, but they bring others along through positive motivation, inspiration, and a drive to achieve greater things in the future. So they challenge others to accomplish things because they are constantly challenging themselves to do so. Successful leaders are always challenging themselves, whether it's running an extra quarter mile than initially planned, trying a new type of cuisine, and attending an unlikely event, making a new friend, or almost anything else. Living life on the edge. I- In this way, conditions lead us to be, shall I say, bolder in the workplace and mitigate the fear of the unknown so their organization and people can grow in unexpected ways. Successful leaders are creatures of habit, but not just any habits. These are positive, proactive, and productive habits that help growing organizations. The habits of leadership involves pursuits like gaining new knowledge, becoming more self-aware, improving one's mental and physical well-being, staying organized, and always staying open to trying new things. Over to you, Gary.
Um, Frank, you have made a number of great points. I know Shivani is trying to get back in. You've made a number of great points. I do believe that an essential strategy for success is to be innovative. I do believe the element of the art of innovation is to be market oriented, is to be market sensitive, and is to be market responsive. And to apply this and to achieve this as a strategy for success, you constantly have to be collecting the right information, and you collect the right information about your ideal client. You want to be the first to know what are the needs, wants, and expectations of the ideal client. An essential part of success strategy is to be able to innovate in alignment with immediate needs and future needs of your ideal client. And to do that, it means that you have to be market oriented. You have to be market sensitive, because it is only when you combine market orientation and market sensitivity you can now be market responsive, or that's the only time that you should be market responsive. Now, one of the things that we see a lot of young rising stars in business do, you simply get into the market because you assume that there are cash flow opportunities. Only when you get into the market, you recognize that the market enablers and the market accommodators You're now very clear about this. And this again is one of the reasons why we have coined and developed this program that we refer to as the science of success. Because part of the science of success is going to say to you, look before you leap. Part of the science of success is going to say to you, ensure that you have right information before you make any capital investment. Because when you leap before you look, you may set yourself up to have sleepless nights. Why? Because you are investing capital in ways that is not going to give you the desired return on investment. You are not taking an informed approach to achieve targeted performance outcome. So, understanding what we are referring to as the art, the science of success, it is very, very, very important. I want to come back very shortly to look at what we call evidence based marketing and how this relates to success. But just before I expand on evidence based marketing as one of the elements under the science of success, I want to just speak a little bit more to what I refer to as the art and science of success. In this context, we are looking at the art of success. Now, part of the art that we have proposed, and I want to emphasize this because I want to help people to get this. What is art? So you understand what is success. You need to define clearly what is success when you're going after success. But you want to bring yourself to the point now where you can see success in the context of art. So, what is art? As you think about art in association to success, in the context of success, you want to ask yourself, what are the strategies that you're deploying for success? What are the right tools to deploy for success? What are the processes that you need to activate to attain success? Now, when you combine the tools, the strategies, the tools, and the processes, and you find that they're working, they're giving you the high reward, they're giving you the high reward, measurable results, predictable outcome with the highest degree of accuracy, what do you want to do next? So part of the art, you want to now systemize your processes. You need to have a well-developed system. When you have a well-developed system, just like the scientists, you know what works because you have run many tests and you know what doesn't work. And as the good scientist, you are adopting to your processes, the systems, the strategies, the tools that is going to give you the desired, the predictable outcome. So once you know you're at that point where you have tested, well, I want to, build a home, and the I need to deploy these strategies. I need to use not debt instruments. I want to use creative financing because creative financing uh, doesn't make me obligated to pay, monthly debt obligation. It releases me from that monthly debt obligation. So you have made this decision, but now the tool that you have to deploy people and connection and relationships. You know that this has been working successfully. You want to systemize the entire process because the next time you're going to do this, you don't want to be speculating and guesstimating. You want to refer back to your successful processes. Now, what exactly is systemization saying? So when we say that you must have a well-developed system, what exactly am I saying? Because that well-developed system falls under your art of success that is going to influence the science of success. So a well-developed system looks at a number of things. It means that you have transparency in your system. And having transparency aids the process, particularly in cases when you're not there to execute on it, because it's well documented and there are players, there are leaders, whether strategic or tactical leaders in your organization that can look at the process because you have a transparent approach to doing so. Part of the art, you're also looking at consistency. The reason you're going to systemize it is because you want several things. You want transparency. Transparency leads to consistency. Consistency leads to accountability. Accountability leads to traceability. Traceability leads to scalability. Let me pause here a little bit. Because you have systems that are well documented and you're building repetition in applying the systems over and over, as you deploy yourself in the art of success, the science of success, you start to figure out, I can tweak this to enhance the speed and accuracy in how I achieve my targeted performance outcome. You can scale this whole process up. Now, scalability means several things. You can move from saying, I want to just attract 50 million or 500 million, and I can scale the process up because you have now well-documented systems where you're assessing strengths and weaknesses. You're looking at the opportunities to make things better. It allows you to do it. But if your processes are not systemized, you may be repeating one thing over and over with no improvement to your processes. What the science of success is saying, you want to improve on your methodology. It leaves the room open for that. Two more concepts I'm going to look at here before I turn to Frank. There's a concept that we call transferability. Just think about this. You have learned the science of success. You have built out your ecosystem on the science of success. It has been working time and time again. Now, you can transfer this body of knowledge. All right, you can transfer this body of knowledge. You can transfer this body of knowledge in the context of a franchise. We're talking in business term. All right, you can transfer this body of knowledge in regionally, nationally, internationally. But we'll go into all of that later on. And this is what happens when you have a proper system set up for success. The reason you're going to struggle in success, and I'm going to tell you why, because you're listening to what I'm saying here right now. You're saying that's a lot of legwork. I know you're saying to yourself, it's a lot of legwork. But, don't see the legwork. Think of it in the case that you're laying one brick on at a time. You want to get the wall up, and you just focus on the one brick. One brick is done today, the next brick is done tomorrow. The other thing that I want to say, you don't have to do it all on your own. Get a mentor, get a coach, and that's why we're here. That's why Frank is here. That's why I'm here. That's why Shivani is always here. It's to be alongside you as your mentor, to be alongside you as your coach, to be alongside you as your sponsor, to be alongside you as a supportive community that want you to win. But I'm not going to say winning is easy. It can become easier when you have the right team dynamics around you. So I'm going to pause here for now and hand over to Master Frank, and then we're going to start to prepare to wrap up. All to you, my friend.
All right, Gary, thanks a lot. And as usual, meetings and whatever calls me. But
I know.
Here, I just want us to remember, and when I'm talking in the mornings about leadership, I'm not just talking to the audience. I'm talking with the audience because some of these are applicable to my life also. We have to remember that leadership habits are learned. You're not born with that. So people often assume that leadership habits naturally arise from certain personalities and background, but that's not the case. I know there's no leadership gene or inborn trait that automatically makes someone a good leader. It's a learned behavior that comes from building habits and practicing leadership skills. And this includes actively practicing a wide variety of leadership related habits, such as building strong paths of communication between oneself and others, regularly putting organization skills to work, openness to joining and leading teams, a desire to grow and learn, practicing flexibility and adaptability in thinking, forging interpersonal connections, strategic thinking whenever possible, finding humor and creativity in daily life, openness to receiving feedback from peers and supervisors, and finally, willingness to be held accountable for one's work. And almost every company has plenty of potential leaders who need a supportive culture that provides enough guidance to go to the next level. They are ready to learn now leadership skills and habits, but they are not sure how to pursue a path to leadership without organizational help. So, do you have emerging leaders who could benefit from leadership development, coaching, and education? If so, look at us. We are here to help you because we have a program that builds productive leadership habits. And so, talking to us, connecting with us, we can help you to get to that stage that will make you the most effective and successful leader you can be. I must tell you, if you continue looking to us, just don't just look and listen, but take notes, copious notes, read more, try to understand yourself and where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. A lot of people still don't know where their strengths and weaknesses lie. But the thing about it is that you need a mentor. I'm here for you. Gary is here for you. Any other member of the team here to guide you along the way so that you can attain that zenith in leadership or whatever activity you're involved in. Today, I want to thank you for listening. It's always when you're having fun that you have to leave. But
Yeah. All right. Just before we wrap up, um, I want to say to the public that on this platform, we are never able to go or complete our entire sentence. But of course, you have a lot of meat to start chewing on
Mhm.
with the information that you have so far. I also want to encourage you guys to go to our website. All right. Go to the bestsellerportal.org and start looking at some of the programs that we have. All right. Some of our training programs are free. You have One Degree to Success is one of the programs that you can benefit from. You also have the Business Success Blueprint, another program that you can benefit from. You also have the GIP initiative. This program is going to train you how to become a global influencer. You have also Cash Flow Incubator. If you want to know how to cash flow and cash flow like a pro, this program will help you to learn all of that. And you will also learn to start thinking like a high net worth investor. Now, all that we have talked about today, the science of success, all right? Each of these programs has elements of that body of knowledge for you to take away. So if you want to be successful, regardless if you're starting to scale in a small business or if you have a big business and you want to now take that business international, our programs are designed to really give you the tools, the insight, and the support to make that happen. So I certainly want to encourage you to reach out to us in the event that you need that type of support to move your vision, your business to the next level of development. So I trust that you would have enjoyed today's program. Today, To me, it was a very exciting conversation. And I must say, it's always a pleasure being with you. I want to thank our listening audience from across the world. We have persons who are on LinkedIn. I want to thank those persons who are taking the time to view us from LinkedIn. And remember, you can shoot us a question, you can make a comment, you can tell us what topics you want us to bring, and we would be happy to entertain you. Today, we are reaching over 50 countries, and we are reaching over 35,000 persons, direct subscribers. But we're reaching much more persons than that. Over the last 2 months, we have attracted over 35,000 persons to subscribe to our platform. I want to thank you guys for being, supportive of what we are doing here. We have seen that over 70% of those persons who are looking at the program, you have not yet subscribed to the program. So I want to encourage you to press that subscription button, like, subscribe, and share. When you press the subscription button, you will be the first to get these content that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. All right. So I want to thank you in advance for pressing that subscription button, for liking, for sharing, and commenting in the chat. And I'm referring to those persons across social media platform. Again, I want to thank my team today. I know Shivani, she was having some technical difficulty re-entering the room, but she made a solid contribution before she was knocked out of the room. I want to also thank Frank for being here today and making valuable contribution as usual. And with that being said, we will do this again tomorrow at 3 p.m. EST. So to the listening audience, be good. And remember, the next time you start thinking about success, remember, start thinking about the art, the science of success. Because when you can see success from a scientific standpoint, it really helps you to define what is success. It helps you to define what is art and how art influences success. And it helps you to see success in the context of science. And when you combine this body of knowledge, it makes you become so much more clearer on what you want to accomplish and all of the best practices that you need to deploy to position yourself for success. So when you think the science of success, you should be thinking us. All right. So you know exactly how to make contact with us. With that being said, I want to say goodbye and do have a great rest of the day and a great weekend ahead of you.